Hey guys, here are two examples of what not to say and do during your CNP exam. You're going to file your claim and you're going to a CNP exam almost all the time. So when you go in, you need to just understand that they're going to write down and report on what you say verbatim. So it doesn't matter how friendly the doctor is or whatever, just like they're hired by the VA to evaluate you. They're not your friend. So assume they have cameras on you and people that you can't see are documenting and paying attention to what you're doing. So make sure you understand that they're watching you the whole time in there. I would argue you should watch what you say to any VA doctor, because they're doing a version of this, but especially at the CNP exam. So you go in for hearing loss. You went to the audiologist. Your tests are your tests. You're probably going to end up with a 0% rating. But the doctor might say something like, hey, so when did you notice the hearing loss? And you're like, oh, I don't know, like 10 years ago? Like, he's going to write that down. Guess what? You got out 30 years ago. In order to get it service connected, direct service connection, it needs to have happened while on active duty. So if you say, well, I noticed it 10 years ago, when you meant to say 30 years ago, your claim's sunk. You're done. Not service connected in most cases. If you don't know this already, you may be fighting this. This is one of the easiest ways CNP examiners will deny your claim. They'll just literally let you talk and bury yourself. Don't say anything more than you need to. Don't answer questions they're not asking. They're going to go in and ask specific questions. And in most cases, they need yes or no answers. And if they want you to expand by a sentence. Not like, this isn't the place to go pour your heart out. The more you talk, the more they're going to use your words against you. Here's another example. You go in for a PTSD CNP exam. One of the tricks that they like to do is they know, and you know, and I know, our head's on a swivel. We like to see things, right? We seat ourselves in the restaurant. We see the exits. We put our back up against the wall, that kind of stuff. One of the tricks they'll do is they will put a chair in the middle of the room and have you sit in it, and then the doctor will sit right behind you and ask you questions from behind you. This is a test to see, if you actually are paranoid and have the symptoms that you're talking about. If this happens and you see a chair sitting in the middle of the room, can we move that chair over to the wall, please? Just ask them, be polite. You don't need to be a dickhead about it. But these are little things to look for. And there's a lot going on. A lot of money's on the line. You need to pass this exam. The bad CNP exam results mean the appeals process, it gets harder as time goes on, the more you go, jamming up with the VA. So these are two examples of things that CNP examiners will do, and there's millions of tricks. So just be prepared for all of them. And, when you're saying hearing loss and or tinnitus, you need to talk about when on active duty you noticed it. That's fine that you noticed it 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Actually, you wouldn't be noticing it. It's always been there. It happened when this explosion happened while I was on active duty. And then you could backtrack from there. And then with mental health claims, it's all over the board, but they will do things like put a chair in the middle of the room and you'll be like, oh, this is kind of weird, it's weird because it's a test. Tell them to move the fucking chair over to the wall and talk from over there. Little things like that.
If you need to appeal your VA claim, check out Hill and Ponton at hillandponton.com. See if they can help you out. Also, if you're at Camp Lejeune between 53 and 87, you may be eligible for additional benefits. Links for both of those are in the description. Don't forget to sign up for my boot camp if you want to learn more about my process, which is the VA claims process. You're going to need medical evidence to win your VA claim. If you're missing a diagnosis, severity of your symptoms, or a nexus, and your doctor won't do it for you, send an email to Second Strata and see if they can help you with your missing medical evidence.